here with Don Steele of Comedy Central. My name is Chris Dessi, CEO of Silverback Social and producer of the Baltimore Digital Summit. Firstly, thank you. Thanks for being here, man.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it. So you just came off stage.
Yep.
This is the post-game interview here.
Post-game, okay, excellent.
So we're looking for general impressions. How was your performance? What can you improve on next time? No. So seriously, thanks for coming. I think Comedy Central, the general zeitgeist and understanding is that you guys are doing some really cutting-edge stuff when it comes to digital. Maybe give us an overview of what you covered in the room so that viewers can get a little taste of what you just provided to everybody here in Baltimore.
Sure. So obviously with a brand like Comedy Central, we have to be active in social. And I think one of the things that you had said when you were speaking was about just kind of owning yourself and playing around and being nimble. And so we at Comedy Central try and do that as much as possible. We have to be active on all the platforms. And one of the things we really think about is how do users actually use these platforms and how are we being in a way that is understanding and organic, and I hate to use that word, but it's the behaviors that they're doing. And so how are we acknowledging those behaviors and empowering them and allowing people to do more and being there with them?
At what point at Comedy Central, obviously this is something that is paramount for you guys and you're paying a lot of attention to it. How do you staff for that? Where was the pivot point for Comedy Central where you're like, it's gotta be social, and how does that conversation happen within a big organization?
If you think about all these different social networks, dating back even to things like MySpace and early Wikipedia, Comedy Central was a vital part of those. When I first started at Comedy Central, Dane Cook had used MySpace to win a contest where we had to run a block of his programming. One of the first things, when Facebook kind of became an open platform and it wasn't just for students, is when Stephen Colbert was thinking about running for president, and there was 1 million strong for Colbert, and it was the fastest Facebook growing group ever. So we have been on these platforms and we've set records on all of them. And so organizationally, it's people know that this is real, and showing people how our brand is living there is important to us. I think what is interesting for us is that we are probably judged more on the ROI of being in these spaces than other people in terms of traffic we're driving to our websites, in terms of downloads of our apps. And so it's quite an exciting opportunity, right, to have a brand that people know needs to be in these spaces, and how are we there in a way that makes us look smart and extends the Comedy Central brand.
It's very cool. So what are some of the neat things that you got? Neat, I just used the word neat, but whatever, that's fine. We're always curious about what's next and what's the next energy that's happening within digital. What are the things that you guys are paying close attention to, maybe dipping your toe in? Are you testing everything, and is that intentional that you're testing everything, or do you tend to focus on certain platforms other than?
We test everything. We played around on stuff. One of the examples I gave in the talk was how we've been using Snapchat recently, where it's understanding of users' behavior in terms of drawing on their pictures. And so we do something where we encourage people to draw the South Park hats on themselves and send them those pictures. And so it's, we play around on these things, but obviously it's which of the things are getting the most return in terms of engagement and driving the lines of business that are vital to us. Because it's fun to be on Snapchat, but we can't right now bring an advertiser in there, or if advertisers want to be in there, we're going to turn off users immediately. But it's being there in smart ways and owning your brand presence and doing things in a way that people acknowledge that you get how the platform works. Right? Not every picture we take on Instagram is of a show. Sometimes it's like toys in our office, but those toys in our office are both telling people two things. One, that we're human, and maybe it's intentional that using pictures of toys of South Park on the day that South Park airs reminds people of something. So it's thinking about how people are using the platforms and using them in the way they do to give our message across.
I know you hate the word, but how organic is that, or is it all pretty planned out? Like when it seems off the cuff, is that a well thought out process, or is that sometimes there is that wiggle room to be a little off the cuff and say, just post that picture, that's fine?
We have the wiggle room, we have the kind of permission from our executives and to do things like that. Sometimes things are not considered funny or fail or don't get likes or done at the wrong time. Other times it's on things like Twitter and Facebook, when you acknowledge a fan talking about you, it's as powerful as you talking with them about something. So it's that guy who is sitting there on his couch saying, I just wasted 8 hours watching South Park. Like, he's not wasting time in our minds, he's a hero. And so it's how are we providing that kind of, what is the phrase that people use? It's kind of that bit of magic, right? That just that moment of that they get it and we're there with them.
Wow, I love it. Don Steele, Comedy Central.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. I really
Anytime.
appreciate it.
A thrill.
Thanks.